Oh, there you are. Oh, sorry, I didn't really expect to see you there. This is kind of weird, right? I didn't post anything for the last couple of weeks, and there you are, in the middle of nowhere. So I'm sorry. Anyway, I'll get you up to speed in the next video about what happened over the last couple of weeks, but today we are in Olympus National Park in the state of Washington, and we've got a pretty epic hike ahead of ourselves. It's gonna be a 2 summit and 1 lake kind of deal. So yeah, just hop on. It should be about 1,500 meters of elevation total, which should be a pretty big day, a total of about 20 kilometers or roughly 12 miles if you're from the US. So with this being said, just hop on and we should have some pretty scenic views and a pretty fun trail to hike. Come on. So I'm about 3K in, and from what I've read, this whole first section all the way to the lake is supposed to be pretty mellow. So it's just been this little slow climb, kind of slow grind getting to the top. And when we get to the lake, we'll probably cool down a little bit, because after that, the fun is supposed to start. It should get pretty steep and pretty gnarly. So here we are at the lake, and it was a pretty mellow hike to get here. I'm trying not to speak too loud because it's a campground. There might still be people sleeping. It's only about 9 or something like that, 9:40. So it took us maybe an hour and a half to get here. It's a really fun trail. Maybe if you're just starting out, come into the campground, and hiking back down after that would be a really fun way to get yourself started with hiking. The view is really nice from here, as you can tell. I'm going to cool down in the water, and then we'll start hiking up the more gnarly part of the trail. Okay, so we are ready to hit the trail again. The amount of mosquitoes and wasps is unreal, so that's just something to keep in mind if you decide to come here. This being said, I did see some fish jumping in the lake, so that was pretty cool to see. And other than that, let's just get back on the trail. So that's pretty funny. I had kind of guesstimated, I don't know. I thought I had climbed maybe 400 meters of elevation by the time I was at the lake, but All Trail says I was over 750 meters by then. So I guess it just goes to show how much a well-groomed trail can make you climb. I'm not gonna say effortlessly, but much more easily than a technical trail. So we only just left the lake a couple minutes ago. You can still see it at the bottom somewhere there in between the trees. And now we are kind of changing of area, I guess, if that makes sense. And we can see the rest of our hike from here. So we're gonna go up there in the valley. This is Mount Angeles. I believe we're not gonna go there. We'll just cross at the bottom somewhere here. This will be our first peak, which is the highest of the 2 we're going to do today, and I'm guessing that the second peak is somewhere right there, the one that's a little bit lower, and then we're going to go all the way back down there. So this should be pretty fun. I don't want to say bummed. I kind of wanted to do Mount Angeles because it looks quite nice, and I believe it is the highest in the area. There's a trail that takes us there, but it's going to add quite a few kilometers to our already pretty long journey. So yeah, we'll see if we get there. Also, I wanted to apologize because I didn't bring the drone today because it's a long hike, and packing the drone means that I have to bring a pretty big bag and it gets pretty heavy. So for today, all the B-roll will be recorded with the GoPro, and I hope that it still satisfies your need for beautiful scenery. So as we were getting further up, Obviously the trail gets less traffic and it's a bit rougher, also quite a lot steeper, but it still is, it's definitely not a bushwhacking experience. Like, you can follow the trail quite easily and you get a bunch of nice views. So I just stopped to have a chat with a fellow hiker. He decided to sleep at the lake we saw earlier and then do just little day hikes here and there. Good news is we made it pretty much to the ridge. We're out in the open now. As you can see, quite nice scenery. And that's good because it means that we're getting closer to our first peak, which is still quite a few kilometers away. But from now on, it's just a ridge, just a long ridge, and it should go on pretty quickly, I believe. And it also means that there's no more shade for quite a while now, so I'll be out in the open, sweating a little bit. Yeah, definitely on top of the ridge. And as you can see, the view is getting better by the minute. This being said, I am surprised by the amount of people that I met. I've seen at least maybe 10 people so far on this trail, but most of them didn't do the whole hike in a day. Like, most of them decided to sleep at the campground, which is nice because it makes for a mellower day, if you will. And especially today, it is burning. I mean, I'm literally cooking. You know it's getting real when you get to see the view on both sides. So, I so love these parts. So I have to say that so far it's not a very technical hike. There are a few little pieces that maybe were a little bit slippery, but other than that, as you can see, it's really easy to follow. There isn't much to it other than lots of cardio, really. So this is the kind of thing that really triggers me. I've been hiking for like a couple hours now, been going up pretty steep inclines, and just as I get to the top, I've been walking on a ridge for a little while, and right there is a road that takes you to the exact same height pretty much, right there on a different mountain. There's a little path that goes from there to here, and I would have been here in like only, I don't know, I want to say half an hour, if that. But hey, I've got a beautiful hike behind me. Well, I mean, half a hike because I still have ways to go. I don't feel like I'm in the wild as much now, so I don't know. Like, it is what it is. There's a road. There's supposed to be very technical parts on this trail, or at least so I've read. Maybe people just have a different scale here than they do in BC. I don't know yet. This is my first hike in the US, so hopefully I don't get hurt. Oopsie. So yeah, I guess I just made it to Summit 2, at the bottom of Summit 2 at least. And apparently that would be the scramble kind of thing I would have to do to get up there. I'm kind of not sure because I literally just ran out of water and I still got 8K to go. Luckily I got some fruit, so that's going to keep me hydrated. Yeah, I feel like this is a bad idea. I'm pretty mad that I don't have enough water. It would have been so fun. Luckily no one's in the trail right now. Kind of wish I could have gone through with the idea, but yeah, sometimes you have to listen to reason. And now I don't have water, so. So what's for lunch today? I am glad you asked. We've got some oats, and I did forget to bring a spoon, so I have to eat this like some savage. And then I got cherries, blueberries, dates in there, so that should be pretty tasteful. So I am replenished. I ate plenty of oats in a very savage way without utensils, and also I ate plenty of fruit, so I'm pretty hydrated. I can already feel that by the time I get to the car I will be fairly dehydrated, but luckily it's only on the way down from here. So I've already lost a significant amount of elevation, and I'm starting to see a bit more shade, having a bit of cover from the trees. And honestly, it is more than welcome. I'm very grateful for the shade that I'm getting, because yeah, I didn't plan accordingly. Starting to get a bit of a dry mouth going on, so yeah, I still got a long way down, so, but it still is beautiful. You don't get much views on this point, and I'm about to go right by the peak one, which I think is probably on this way. That is probably peak one. That's something else I didn't realize about this trail, is that you don't actually go onto the peaks, you just go by the peaks. So you don't get like the really fun 360 full panoramic view that I like to have and that I like to share with you. Still, I mean, we got plenty of nice views, just no 360, which is too bad. I was just slow jogging down this hill, and I started hearing kind of like a walkie-talkie sound. That was weird. So I looked around, didn't see anyone, and sure enough, I'd managed to pocket dial the 911. So yeah, I just let them know I was fine and it was a mistake. They asked a couple questions, and yeah, everything is fine. So that's never happened to me before, actually, pocket dialing the 911. Just want to take a minute to acknowledge how fun this quietness is. And there it is. Finally, we made it back to Billy. We had a beautiful day out on the trail, and I'm eager to drink a ton of cold water. Oh yes. Whew. So all in all, that was a pretty fun hike. I was expecting something much more technical than this based on the comments of the people on all trails. So I did read some people saying that the trail was super treacherous, that you had to be like on your A game, and you had to go above like parts of the trails that had been washed out. And while I did see those were actually fairly minimal. So 90% of the trail is actually super well groomed. It could be classified as an easy trail for this part, but since there are some, little bits of the trail that do get softer, and if you have bad foot placement, you might have the ground collapse under your foot. I do understand that these are rated as hard. Also, it would be easier to do with shoes that have proper tread. So these are my wife's shoes. These would have been just perfect, whereas mine, not so much, because there isn't much left. So I just checked the ride on Strava and All Trails, and apparently that was a total of about 21 kilometers, and about the right elevation, something like 1500 meters, just a tad above that. So that was super fun. That was a great hike. If you do go, make sure that you have plenty of water, because I did run out. I believe I had only 2 liters, so that was clearly not enough for any 20k hike. I thought that was 2.5 liters, but even then that might have been a little bit short. So make sure that you have at least 3-4 liters if you like to drink a lot. As for myself, I'm pretty light and pretty used to doing this kind of distance, so like it was not too bad, but still it could have been worse. So all in all, great hike. Thank you for joining me. Next up, I'm gonna be catching you up on what happened over the last couple of weeks and why I disappeared from the face of Earth. And that's it. So thank you for joining me today, and I'm hoping to see you in the next one.